Yo, what's up?
Whoa, what's going on?
Not much, man. You?
Not much. My thing looks a little weird.
I was gonna say,
There you go.
yeah, good to go. All right. So, who's coming? Tyler's coming. Wait for
Yeah,
him.
you coming?
Yeah. Dude, I put up one of those anonymous question boxes and it fucking blew up, eh?
No shit.
Why do more people want to submit questions if it's anonymous?
I guess because people like look at us like somewhat maybe as like mentors or something like that, you know? Maybe people are like kind of nervous to ask us a question because they think we might think it's stupid.
Yeah,
I just think about how I like used to feel like being around people like I looked up to, you know? Like you don't want to say something dumb, right?
that's true. Yeah, I guess that's true. But I don't know. Yeah, definitely. Like, I got like probably twice as many questions by doing
Well,
it anonymously. Yeah.
that's good for us to
Some
know,
creepy
right?
ones too.
Really?
People get weird, bro.
Awesome.
Yeah. People are nicer too, I feel like.
They're nicer?
Yeah, you get more compliments.
Oh yeah, yes.
Maybe
What are
maybe
those
maybe
compliments from?
people are more truly they're more honest then because they have no oh shit, Tyler's here. They have no I guess fear of like you said, like asking a dumb question or saying something that is you don't know who it is. Hey Tyler, what
Yeah.
do you think? What do you think about these anonymous questions? You got a lot of those, eh?
Yeah, dude, I get a lot.
You get more than if you just post a regular question box, right?
Way more, dude. Honestly, anonymous is a lot better because it gives people who are like scared to ask questions an opportunity. Because like a lot of people, like I don't know about you guys, but I have a lot of like normal followers, like not bodybuilders, so they don't know any of the like jargon we're using. They don't know what like a high day is. They don't know what flat is. Like they don't know any of this shit. So like these Q&As give them an opportunity to ask questions, but it also gives people an opportunity to like take a little too far.
That's what I was saying. Yeah. So what was the weirdest one you got?
Oh man. Yesterday I got one. It was something about like, do you ever graze your muscles like just to feel them or something?
Oh
And
yeah,
like
I saw
thick
that.
skin shreds. I don't know, man. Like they're getting pretty weird yesterday for sure.
I got to do one of these question boxes.
You should do it.
Dude, what the fuck did you do to your shoulders?
My massage therapist, bro,
Holy shit, dude.
he goes hard, man. Like this, dude, this was so painful. Like I never had to tap, but I had to tap twice during my session yesterday.
That's fucked, dude. That's so crazy.
That's like legit bruising.
Yeah.
He puts the cups on and he drags them.
Yeah.
But it works so well. Like my chest was super tight. Now I'm just like wide open. Like I feel like I can like clap like behind my back.
Do you stretch ever?
Do I stretch?
Yeah.
Well, I feel like I get a little bit of a stretch when I do flies, you know?
Dude, one of the best trainers, Darren Oliver, who passed away, he never liked stretching. That's what he said. He was just like, when you're doing the exercise, you should be getting a full stretch, and that's your stretching.
Tyler has a lot to say.
Go for it.
I disagree, but like I get it, dude. Like I used to do the same thing. I used to literally just do that. I'd stretch with my flies and like
Yeah.
I would use certain exercises to stretch a little bit more, like to warm up or whatever. But now that I stretch, it's like a game changer, dude. It really made the reason I asked is because you're so bruised. So I figured like you must have had to go really hard, like you're maybe like inflamed before you went in or whatever.
So my issue, probably back 2014, 2015, I tore my pec, like just the muscle belly. Like I tore it, and then 3 weeks later went back in the gym and bench pressing the same weight and kind of re-injured it.
Yeah.
I had this like ball of scar tissue in my chest, and like when I'm
I
really,
had the same thing.
yeah, right. So
Yeah.
basically, I'll go 3, 4, 5 weeks without massage, but then like this shoulder will just kind of come in.
Yeah.
And it throws off all my presses and stuff.
Yeah.
So if I go see him every 2 weeks, I don't have the issue, you know.
Was it
Yeah,
from barbell, flat barbell?
I tore it on a flat barbell, yeah.
Yeah, so did I. Same thing. It was my right pec, like right here, and it for a whole year, dude. I couldn't, and I'm stubborn. I was stubborn at the time, so I wouldn't really do anything about it. I'd go see RMT, and he'd work on it, and I wouldn't stretch. I wouldn't do anything. I would just keep training chest the same way, just trying to push through it because like whatever, you're like, oh, it's just a little sore. It's not a big deal, but Yeah, dude, stretching for me, man, like at this point it really is a game changer. Like, I know I'm going to be annoying about it, but I can't stress how much stretching has like changed everything for me. Training, like recovery, sleep, everything.
I think with stretching for me, it's like I shouldn't say I don't, because like I'm always like stretching my chest and stuff like that. Like I do, but I guess I don't have a routine, so like I don't like it's hard for me to know if I'm like effectively stretching. Like I think if I had some type of routine, like to do maybe like once or twice a week, and like something where I could gauge progress.
You know what I'll recommend then? While we're on here, because people are watching, I don't know if is there a way I can send a video or link or anything through here or no?
Yeah, you can. You can go to the chat. Yeah, you can go to more.
There's
there's a chat. I'll open
I'm
it
gonna
up.
send it.
You know what though? Honestly, I don't think that stretching is that important. I think stretching I think contracting muscle.
Good morning, my darling friends. Welcome to.
My bad.
What are you sending, anyways?
It's just a yoga thing for like, I mean, it's just,
okay.
Well, it's nothing really, but it's like 10-15 minutes.
Okay, I know this one. I've done these.
Yeah, dude, it's so good. Like for beginners, for literally anyone to do. And I'm not saying it's like it's going to change your physique by any means, but it'll change the way you recover.
Actually,
it'll help you sleep. It'll decrease inflammation. It'll clear your head. So like, I used to have a lot of brain fog, like just from like food and inflammation, whatever. So that stretching helps a lot. Like stretching helps a lot of help me with bodybuilding indirectly, not so much directly.
I can see it having like a direct impact on posing, probably.
Mm-hmm.
I think honestly, the best thing to do, like you're saying, Tyler, is to do something that is like not around your workout time. Like if you do yoga, you're not going to go do a yoga session and go train right away.
Right.
But you could maybe do it later on in the evening.
Yes,
something like that.
Exactly. So I started with it before bed. So like 10:45, I go to bed at like 11:30 or whatever. So I do it like 20, 30, 40 minutes before bed. It gives you an opportunity just to focus on your breathing too.
Yeah.
But the benefit from stretching directly was I was able to connect my breath to the muscle. So like Robin, you and I kind of did that when we train.
Yeah, my shoulders are still pumped, eh?
Yeah, dude, I had a fucking crazy pump from that, which I don't really get a crazy shoulder pump very often because it's like I don't really go too crazy on them. I don't really want them to grow as that crazy, but
your shoulders are already like your best body part, so I see why.
But yeah, for me, I'm trying to get my arms to catch up, or like my chest or whatever.
But you also don't have the smallest waist, so you definitely want to keep pushing those shoulders out bigger, right?
Yeah.
Just add to the illusion. Well, anyway, my shoulders are bigger and rounder than Mo's right now, so I'm feeling pretty good about that.
That's just the camera angle.
That's why I put it like this.
Yeah, I don't know. If I put mine like that,
so you can see all three heads of the delt.
Trap just popping there. That's okay.
No, but yeah, so for anybody listening, the YouTube page is Yoga with Adrienne. You can just search it on YouTube, but they're all like 10-15 minute yoga, 20-minute for like beginners. Like it's a good place to start.
Yeah,
I did a lot of yoga last contest prep, and I felt like it actually helped my physique.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, because like it helped with posing.
It's the de-stressing, man, and that's something I kind of highlight a lot is the low state of stress. That alone, dude, like just yoga, literally just yoga or stretching will decrease the amount of stress in your body. It'll calm your central nervous system, which that will 100% improve your physique. Like I'm not going to say how or whatever. I feel like it's just going to be a healthier look though. So you're not as like, especially in your contest prep, like you're going to get tired, right? And like a lot of people, the more they push, if they're pushing the PEDs or the cardio or lowering the food, a lot of us get a little bit of a tired look by the end. And stretching through that, doing yoga, honestly, sleeping better, all of that helps a lot more, bringing a more like healthier, more polished look when you're competing.
Yeah, I think when you're doing yoga, you're contracting muscles a lot of the time. Like if you're doing a pose, you're using muscles to hold your pose. You're not just like laying on the floor, like pulling on a muscle, like passively.
Yeah.
It's more active than that. So that's why I find that yoga is more beneficial than just regular passive stretching. I don't know. I don't do a lot of passive stretching because I just don't see the benefit for it. Maybe for recovery and stuff.
Agree.
But
I would say use yoga or just flow while you're stretching. If you're going to just stretch, you're not going to do like a whole like yoga session. Like just flow and make sure you're connected to the breath more than anything.
Yeah. Well, I think I see a lot of people at the gym that they're literally laying on the turf on their phones and like I don't even know what they're doing, but they're like stretching, you know, like I don't know. I don't know how long it takes to stretch your glutes, but if it takes you like 30, 40 minutes, I don't even know what you're doing at that point.
I used to just do a 20-minute like little circuit of my own, whatever I wanted to do in the morning. I would just include it with my fastest cardio. Like that was just for me. It was like mental, like how I want to start my day.
Yeah. Nice. So
Let's
what's
do
going
some
on?
of these. What's that?
Do you get your cycle started yet or what? Your new course? Are you on course now?
Yeah, I'm on course.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Starting small though, starting small. Just this is the first time I'm gonna like kind of ease into it. I do have a consult scheduled with Broderick for next week.
Oh really?
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna get on a call with him and try to absorb some more knowledge, but also maybe just try something different and get those guys to lay it out for me. I was
Yeah.
pretty intrigued with what they were saying, and something I wanted to try is always like have a cycle where my test is lower than the other compounds I'm using, and to see what kind of effect that has.
Yeah.
And I do like in my most recent cycle, like I was running 750 milligrams of test a week, which is like what I would pretty much always do. But like my blood pressure was on the higher side for a bit, like
Yeah.
you know, and things like that. And I mean, my blood work came back great and stuff, so like nothing too concerning. But I'm just kind of curious, you know.
Dude, honestly, I feel so much better on low test. It's crazy.
Yeah, man.
What's low?
And like
Yeah.
yeah, so and like right now I'm only on 500, and like I feel like just kicking in now the last few days because I'm on like probably 2.5, 3 weeks now,
Yeah.
and like I really like how I feel, and I'm starting to feel fuller again. Like I'm getting harder, like muscular contractions and stuff, and I'm kind of in my head. I'm like, man, like I don't know like how much more I need than this, like you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, if you guys don't mind, like what would your normal dose be versus 500 if it's low? Like a gram?
750. No, 750 is the most I've
Yeah,
ever
okay.
taken.
Yeah,
I've
that-
gone up to a gram. I've done 1,000 milligrams of testosterone a week for sure. On prep, it would be normally 700.
yeah.
I would do like 100 milligrams of prop every day. You know, that's pretty normal. Yeah,
I hate shooting pro.
for like 8 weeks.
Yeah.
But you know, I never found it even necessary. And usually, what I would do, like in my, I guess, more mature years of bodybuilding, when I understood this, is I would just do 100 milligrams every other day, and it was just as good.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't need to pin every day like I thought I did. I thought that if I didn't pin every day, it was like that day that I didn't pin would be like a wasted day somehow.
Yeah. You got smaller that day.
It's not fresh. It's not in my system fresh this morning. Like, you know, like it's a fucking cup of tea. Like,
yeah. It was your whole day off. I didn't shoot my test today, some small week.
Yeah, exactly. Like it was just like a
test in my body.
Yeah. Yeah. Or if you're that concerned, then you can literally just do 15 milligrams every day if you really want to do that. Because you don't even need that much. You don't need 1,000 milligrams of test. And I think like 400 or 500 is good. I'm on 3 and I like 300. It's so good. I just feel better overall.
Yeah.
My blood pressure is like low.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's never been low. Like for the last 5 years, my blood pressure has been on the higher end, and now it's low.
Yeah, and like just you know, I think about this stuff a lot lately. Like you know, I feel like a lot of the information we know about like bodybuilding and how we do things is just like a pile of bullshit that like people have just kind of come up with over the years, like just a bunch of meatheads. You know what I mean? Like
because it works. You can't say it doesn't work. But
and now like it would be dumb not to listen to these guys who are putting in the time to do the research now and like actually doing research on bodybuilders, people who are training like us, because none of the information that like we had up until like fairly recently was like science based at all. And I'm not one of these like big science guys either. Like I'm not like I do believe that some shit just works and maybe there isn't like a whole big explanation for it. You know what I mean? But I don't want to be ignorant. Like, you know, especially after having that conversation we had with those guys, like I want to explore it a little further because I'm like, hey, like there might be something to this that could be useful to me. And if that helps me in the long run, then like, you know, it's kind of stupid not to see what it's all about, right?
Dude, since I started working with Chris Aceto, like everything I thought about gear has changed. Because this guy is defying like everything that we know with his dosages. Like I'll just give you an example, like 150 EQ a week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like that's not even a dosage. That's not even something anyone would, if you were to ever ask someone EQ, like, hey, taking EQ, how much are you taking? To be like 300 milligrams at the very, very, very low end.
Everybody says you need a certain milligram dosage to feel something. Like when you're trying to Like this isn't fucking recreational drugs. Like, what do you mean you're trying to feel? Like
Feel
you're literally
what?
just you're trying to have something to help you recover where you don't feel anything.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah,
I think people
exactly.
push it to the side effect. Like as soon as I start getting side effects, that's the dosage that I should be taking. Whereas
True.
now we're all learning now, and it's like, yeah, I don't want side effects. Like that's kind of like that's how you know you're pushing it too much, because if you're getting side effects and your body isn't like absorbing it the way it's or like using it the way it's supposed to be used. So
Yeah.
working with Chris, dude, like even our first prep, I used like 25 milligrams of Winstrol a day, and that was it. We never went over that. And I was just like,
Good,
what
yeah.
the fuck am I doing with one tab of Winnie
Yeah.
a day?
Well,
But I
that was
did it.
when I started working with Ron Partlow, because he was coached by Chris Aceto for many
Yeah.
years, right? So very similar approach, man. Like just like low doses, just like keep like the simplest drugs. Like same, all we did for prep was Winstrol for orals, besides like Plan and T3.
Yeah,
You know, but yeah, super simple approach, and it was like obviously the best prep I ever had.
yeah.
So,
Felt amazing then, eh? You probably felt really healthy.
felt really good, man. Honestly,
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like
Yeah,
every time I tell you guys, like in the past two preps, I felt really good. Even the day of the show, like I never had those prep. I had a couple of those prep days, and then you'd have a high day the next day. But being able to manage the food and then being able to manage the gear at a very extremely tolerable level, it made. I never had insomnia. I never had like irritability. I never had any of the typical prep side effects or symptoms that we usually have.
not to mention like it's less variables to consider when you're when you're trying to go through your prep and make decisions, you know?
Yeah.
So
I've now my blood work come back good too. Like I got my blood work back the week after the show, and other than my liver enzymes obviously are going to be high, even just from training. Even my kidneys were good. My kidneys improved actually. Like everything improved over prep. It was really weird. Blood, like my RBC, hematocrit, hemoglobin, like everything improved. Relative, like not significantly, but like it didn't go back.
on that note too about the liver enzymes, Robin, like that was one of the biggest like takeaways I think from that podcast for me anyway with Broderick, was when we were talking about taking like the liver support and things like that to help aid your liver during cycle.
Yeah.
And he was telling us how silly it was to try to keep your enzymes down when the reason they are up is to deal with the toxicity of the drugs you're putting in.
Yeah, exactly.
That's something that's literally been on my mind ever since that podcast.
Yeah. Yeah,
I stopped taking my health supplements, man.
I know. I guess we've just been so conditioned to think differently about it. It's a paradigm shift. We're thinking about like, yeah, this is what it's trying to do, so let it do what it's trying to do. And it's like, okay, it makes a lot of sense because it has a function for a reason.
The liver is super. Its ability to heal is like next to none, right? Like the liver itself can heal on its own. So I would agree that I've heard a lot of things that say like a lot of people that say like it's a waste to take milk thistle or tudka or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about it completely. Like I would probably
he basically said like when you come off cycle, it's probably a good time to use that stuff to kind of use it to like help clean out your liver, because like milk thistle does help clean like the ducts and things in your liver that everything's filtered through. But he said like don't try to do two things at once, like like let your liver do what it has to do when the drugs are in your system, and then
yeah, like especially if you're adding things to the mix, like let's say you're on prep and you're adding a new oral, and then your liver enzymes, and you're checking blood work along your prep too, and you see that your liver enzymes are going up. Well, it's from that oral. You're not like masking with something else. So you wouldn't know what was causing that. And obviously you could probably guess that would cause that, but at least like, okay, this is kind of how far I can push it with this particular drug. So if you're taking, let's say like your 50 milligrams, maybe your enzymes go up too high, and then boom, you figured it out. Okay, 25 milligrams was the right dose.
Yeah.
But,
totally.
Yeah.
And I can liver too, like you guys said, like it's so regenerative. Like I don't worry about my liver as much as I would like my kidneys and stuff like that.
Yeah,
me too.
With blood pressure, that's probably my biggest concern. And I mean for me too, like I'm not worried about it right now, but like my heart, obviously, like being
heart, brain, kidneys, and liver.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's good too, because then it gets you thinking more about just using it conservatively. It's like, right, and even like getting away from the mindset of just using health supplements like on a whim, like, or overusing them. Because I had that discussion with Dr. Dwayne, and he was saying it could actually cause your liver more stress, because now you're trying to break down all these
Yeah.
fucking oral supplements that you're taking. So they all have to be filtered and processed. So it's like, yeah, taking double dose or triple dose of your liver care might not be the best decision if you have high liver enzymes. Maybe stopping taking something that's doing that would be a better solution, right? So
True.
yeah.
It's also worth noting, like, this is just from my naturopath because he works with me and he understands sort of what we're doing a little bit, or he works to understand it. Your liver enzymes as a bodybuilder are always going to be elevated, whether you're natural or enhanced. Like basically just said, because you're breaking down muscle all the time, like you're never going to have perfect liver enzymes. And even if it's like, let's say it's supposed to be under 50 or whatever, and they're like 100, 200, he's like, that's not a cause for concern. Like you're technically way over, but he's like, it's not a concern until it gets into like the thousands. Like then you have like liver failure, but like a couple hundred over as a bodybuilder, and especially as someone, if you're taking anything, he's like, there's literally nothing to be concerned about. So just
our bodies are just like toxic as hell from all the muscle protein breakdown that's happening.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like there's so much exhaust and like lactic
all the
acid
time.
and shit that's there all the time. Like
all the time.
you know, like if you go get your CK levels checked, like after a leg day or something, like it happened to me once. Literally, like train legs. Next day, got my blood work done. Next day, I was doing cardio in the morning. Got a call from my doctor, and they're like, "You got to go to the emergency room." And I'm like, "Why? I feel fine." Your CK levels are through the roof. Like you're on. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's just because I train legs. And they're like, "You did what?" And I'm like, "We're all good. Don't worry about it."
Yeah, they don't know a lot of them. A lot of regular doctors don't really know a lot of the stuff.
Yeah, they thought I was dead.
Well, the thing too that people need to realize, and maybe that doctor didn't think about this, but it's just a snapshot. We're just looking at that moment in time.
Yeah.
So there's no immediate cause for concern because you're not fucking keeling over. Your fucking liver isn't swollen. You know, like you're not in immediate pain or danger. It's a snapshot. So if you look at your CK levels and things are like, let's say you're in like 10,000, like that's pretty high. But then you get blood work again in 4 weeks or 6 weeks because maybe that's a concern, and it's still around the same. It's not going up. You're not in danger. If it doubled again, you'd be like, oh fuck, okay, there's something going on here. If it's going up at a rapid pace, it's something to think about and be concerned about. But if it's just one picture, you don't know what's going on, so you don't need to be worried
For
about
my
it.
CK levels to be normal, I need to not train for like a week, maybe more.
Yeah, exactly. A minimum 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, it takes a long time to get those down.
Yeah. And if you're doing blood work every 4 weeks, like what are you going to do? You're going to take a week off every 4 weeks? That's not realistic. So
no, that's like with my liver too, man. You just kind of like eat it. You know, you get your blood work done and you look at it. Okay, like you said, like it's not going up or anything. All good, but as long, you know, there's things that are going to be elevated as a bodybuilder. Unless, like you said, like if you take a whole week off and then get your blood work, you might have normal numbers. But like,
you can also do
every time we get blood work.
Like whatever Antoine was doing, his blood work was improving as he was prepping until like the last 3-4 weeks.
Yeah.
So
it would be cool if like Broderick or one of these groups of people that do this research would do like a blood marker range for bodybuilders, you know?
Yeah.
Just to give us some idea of like, okay, if you're using these things and training, like we all kind of train in a similar way. We do the same things, right? So I'm sure they would be able to come up with some type of scale that would just give us some type of idea of like when things are getting a little bit too crazy. Like, you know what I mean?
I just, you know what, man, like I just would, I mean, that's a great idea, but I'd recommend even just trying to find a doctor that can work with you. And you just tell them like, so I go through a naturopath. I don't go through like regular doctor, family doctor, or anything. I usually pay for everything that I do. But he'll tell me like, man, you're on this stuff. This is what's going to happen. We're going to work around your, don't worry about this being elevated because you're on something. Don't worry about this. Don't worry about like, he'll walk me through it and he'll call me and just explain to me like, this is why these numbers are elevated. This is why these numbers are where they are. Or he'll tell me like, hey man, you need a little bit more fat in your diet. I think it was my low, I can't remember which it was. My cholesterol was low or something. One of my cholesterols were low and he basically said you need more fats in your diet. You know what I mean? It's just like things like that a good doctor who's willing to learn with you. I think that's the most important. Like a lot of them aren't going to know because this isn't their
your GP doesn't know shit anyway, man.
Sorry?
Your GP, most GPs don't know much about
that's why I go to naturopath. He doesn't give a fuck. He's just like, you know, you're doing what you're doing.
I got a guy, he's an internist, so he's like a specialist. He has his own clinic. And I just got lucky. Like my GP just like sent me to him because my GP knew he had no idea what the hell he was doing.
Yeah.
And this guy like takes good care of me. But I mean, it's definitely hard, but either way, like there's online resources for people too. Like you can book consultations with guys like Broderick, and there's other people that you can go through your blood work with if you don't have a doctor that can give you any like real insight, right? It's just about making the effort to find these people.
Yeah, you can hit up Dr. Dwayne. He does that. There was another guy on Fuad's podcast a while ago. I forget his name, but he was like, he said he doesn't coach people, but he helps them with their blood work and basically.
The cycle guy, he's like really good with cycles, or is it a different guy?
I think so. Yeah, he was on Fuad's podcast
like a year ago, a couple years ago.
I think it was about a year.
Yeah, I know you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he was like super like detailed about the way you would even shoot like trend, for example. He's like, it'd be like 45 minutes before you train, like shit like that. I was like,
that guy was brutal, man.
Wait, yeah, I don't think it was that guy. I don't think it was that guy.
Oh,
no, this guy,
I know what you're talking about, Tyler. Like that guy was like, ridiculous with his shit.
I was like, man, I'm not going to do any of that ever. I shoot when I feel like it. Whenever I feel like shooting, I shoot. You know.
When I remember.
Yeah, when I remember. Yeah.
Whenever it's convenient that you'll do it on a consistent basis.
Just be consistent. Yeah.
It doesn't matter. No, but no, this guy was talking specifically about blood work, and he didn't really have any like actual specific answers, because he basically just said that, like, Fuad would ask him like, what if liver was elevated, or what if kidney? He's like, well, we kind of have to look at everything. That's basically what he would say. So it's like, you got to work with these people, I guess, if you really want to figure out what's going on,
right? Like, I mean, that's but that's like everything with bodybuilding. Like every time someone asks you a question about anything that has to do with bodybuilding, you're like, well, it depends.
Depends.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my answer for everything, dude. And I'm sure you guys do too, but I get the most vague questions on my Q&As, like, what do you think my macro should be? I'm like, I don't know you. Like, I don't
dude.
I don't know anything.
Or just like the drug approval questions, like, hey, should I do this cycle? I'm just like,
I'm like, I don't fucking know, man.
Probably not, though.
Maybe, yeah. Usually, probably not is my answer.
Yeah.
Basically, just hire us at that point, you know.
Yeah.
Because I don't know,
Summer's almost over.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's fat.
That's it.
They're gonna need us.
So this guy on the YouTube comment, he said, a lot of people do not like the barbell bench press when it comes to what is optimal. I have friends who tell me not to do it. At the end of the day, it is something that feels good for me instead of flat dumbbell. What are your guys' thoughts? I feel like optimal shouldn't be putting over something if it feels better. Opinions. This is like, it depends. It's just the exact same perfect question where the answer is it depends.
But I'll give one bench press tip, because I did it wrong for a very long time, and it was a normal way of doing it, and a lot of people do it wrong. When I'm talking only about isolating the pecs, because a lot of people do strength bench press, which is with their, I don't know if you can see, but with their elbows pointed out. If you tuck your elbows in completely, and like I would have to do a suicide grip for it, but if you tuck your elbows in, my opinion is you can get way more pec and way less shoulder, way less tricep. And then that way it kind of mitigates injuries as well. Cause like usually kind of press a little bit too heavy, or like if you're like elbows out, you kind of have that, you know, your pecs a little bit more vulnerable. And your shoulder too, your shoulder joints are way more vulnerable with the load. And especially if you're, you know, shooting up weight, you're going to be getting a lot stronger, and you're going to be creating more of a load on the muscles and the tendons and the joints. So I found personally, tuck your elbows in, you'll get a lot more pec and a lot less everything else. I would recommend it. I would always recommend bench press, as long as it, you know, you feel good with it, and it's an exercise you can perform.
I say, listen to your friends.
Yeah.
Fuck bench press.
I don't know. This guy said that he likes it, so I think if you like it, it feels good for you, then it's fine. But
yeah,
I don't think anybody. We talk about this all the time, that you don't need to do anything just because it's
you don't need to
mass builder, or it's like you don't have to squat, you don't have to fucking bench press. You can do hack squats instead of barbell squats. You can do whatever you want, really. When you think about it, you can do whatever you want, because this question is not specific at all. It's not saying like, if I want to be the best powerlifter in the world, do I have to do bench press? Then we say yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know if this guy's a bodybuilder actually.
Yeah,
he's a bodybuilder.
If I want to build my chest, do I need to do bench press? It sounds like what he's asking. The answer is no.
Sounds like he just wants some reassurance to keep bench pressing.
He just wants to keep doing bench press.
If you like bench pressing,
do you, homie? Do you?
Do it all day, baby.
Yeah, fuck those haters, man.
I do it every chest workout, man. Honestly, I do either barbell flat or barbell incline. Like that's just, I very rarely don't do either of them. I do a lot of dumbbell and I do a lot of barbell. And I'm not against Smith machine. I'm not against dumbbells. I'm not against anything. It's just kind of what I do, based on what I like doing, what I feel. And I know a lot of guys have issues with bench press, especially. I think it's the bigger that we get and we're more inflamed and we're more susceptible to injury. I think bench press is a big proponent for injury for sure. If you have those,
Dude, like
issues
for
going
me, like I have super long arms.
yeah,
So like, when I'm bench pressing, like unless I'm like real conscious of like the bar path and then stopping like 5 inches above my chest,
yeah,
it's hard for me to do it effectively. You know what I mean? Whereas like, I'm sure you can probably bring it down, like touch your chest or close to your chest, and it feels good on your shoulders and shit.
yeah.
Whereas like my shoulders had to like go so far back to like get any type of range like that. So that's just, I think that's a reason why it might not be good for like some taller guys.
For sure. But again, it depends. Kind of depends on your body type too, right?
Fucking depends, man.
Yeah. You can always just fucking bench press like Marcus Rule, just wide as fuck.
Yeah.
You see that?
Hands on like both end of the bar.
Yeah.
Fucking this guy wants us to do an after-hour podcast where we smoke a joint, and he said while smoking a joint and enjoying the vibe, whatever that means.
I got my
He
vape.
just wants to smoke with us. He just literally wants to watch us smoke so he can smoke. So he feels like we're all session together, we're all chilling together,
Exactly. Okay. Maybe we'll do that when Mo comes down.
Yeah, that's
We'll do it live, because otherwise that's fucking stupid. What are we gonna do? Fucking just sit here like
I won't be able to talk. Like if I'm sitting by myself, I'll just fucking stare at the screen the whole time.
yeah.
That'd be funny.
We'll film it and then we just won't end up putting it out. It'll be so fucking ridiculous that we just won't. We're getting more subscribers. It's good.
Good.
Oh, I just got followed by Labrada Nutrition.
There you go.
Oh,
You should have waited. You could have signed with them. Too late now, right?
see what they're offering.
Yeah, I'll see what's up for sure. That's funny.
Did you sign a contract or anything, or?
Yeah, with Believe, I'm in it for a year, but I think that's my best option because like I'm not really there yet. I'm not really known by anyone at all. I kind of want to go with my Olympia being covered, being with a company that I really like. Like I really actually do like all their products and all the people and everything. So, but I think by next year I'll be in probably a better position.
Yeah, I mean, if it works for both parties, and there's no reason to.
I got to leverage too. Like I have to prove myself. I have to earn a heavier sponsorship with let's just say 6-figure contract, right? Like kind of have to earn that shit, man. You have to show them that you can sell. And that was sort of one thing I wanted to do as well, is like test myself and just earn my stripe sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's definitely like a job for sure. It's not a breeze just to fucking get sponsor money. People think
I think we're all in like the same position right now with that. It's like we gotta we're all trying to have that big year, right?
Yeah.
But it's priorities too. It's like, what's paying your bills, like, there's a hierarchy of what's more important. So
bro, this is it, man. Bodybuilding. You know what I mean? Like either you're all in or what are we doing?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. This guy commented, he said, your best off season, what was different about it from your other off seasons? Was it training, diet, cardio, gear? Thank you. Much love from Croatia. So that's cool.
I hired Dorian Hamilton and then I got huge. So, but it was mostly learning how to just eating foods that digest well, and then bringing down training volume and frequency and focusing more on intensity.
I think this is my best off season because I'm working with Dorian too, because he's not fucking making me fat. He's just keeping me tight and just keeping me accountable. I don't think you need to make anything different. I think you can just be better at what you're doing. Like if you're in an off season, you're cheating 3 times a week, you can make your off season better just by cheating twice or less.
Dude, I don't even have cheats.
Yeah.
Be honest,
I have one once a week, but like
once every couple weeks. Yeah. Like,
dude, yeah. Like again, like if you're staying lean, it's just better. Yeah.
Like it's kind of different. Like being single, I just do nothing, dude. I don't have to go out for date night. I don't have to like.
That would be me. If I was single,
it's a little different if you're in a relationship. Like you have to have that balance too. Like you kind of have to give them attention and everything, and which is awesome. But right now I'm kind of just doing my thing, so I don't really have like cheats or anything. And I'm not like, it's not like because I'm like, oh, I'm too hardcore. I literally just like don't care. Like I'm not like, I don't ever really think about it, which I'd say is part of the reason this is my best off season too. Like right now, and the difference is not overshooting the food, like not trying to push too much food where your digestion starts to slow, where your sleep starts to slow down, where you start to get in more pain, where you're breathing heavier, because you're just so like you're just inflamed from all the food. So I think working around that as well, like working around your health, has helped me a lot, because it's like I said last time, like I had I was pushing the food really, really hard, and my weight was going up really good. Everything was going really well. I was up to like 238, but then it started to really slow down, and I'm like, fuck, dude, I don't want to eat anything now, and I don't really want to go train. My sleep's like not the greatest. I'm sleeping in more, and I'm bloated all the time. So what a normal, like what we would usually do is just keep pushing and kind of just, go with it. And, this is part of it. This is part of the process. You kind of have to deal with it. But this time, I'm working with Chris during the off season too. And working with him has been great, because he allows me to pull back. Like, I'm like, hey man, listen, like I'm gonna start going backwards soon if I keep pushing the way I'm pushing. Like, is there a way that we can just take a couple steps back and ease the digestion, and make sure my body is in like a low state of stress. And that has helped me so much, dude. This is literally like the greatest off season I've ever had, because it doesn't feel like off season most of the time. But sometimes it does. You kind of get a little bit tired, but hasn't really felt like,
how close were you to like your weight cap your last show?
bro. My weight was my weight cap's 207. I weighed in officially 206.8.
Yeah, 100%. It's like,
But like that's not to say I can't come in lighter. Like I weighed 205 point something the Monday after the show. I think the show was Sunday. I woke up Monday morning lighter. So
yeah, like, because I mean, I envy where you're coming from, like because like just by like how you were talking about that's kind of what I thought. I knew you're pretty close to your weight cap.
Yeah,
like the position I feel like, and like I'm in my cruise phases, like I'm really good at moderating my food so I don't get fat, because I know that there's no point to eat a lot if I'm not on like a cycle.
okay,
Right, but like, now that I'm back on, like I feel this urgency to be like constantly feeding, right? And my appetite's picking up and stuff, so like it's going well. Like I definitely don't feel like I'm force feeding. Like, I know I need mass like pretty bad, especially on my upper body, right? So
True,
my big thing now is just like eating as much as I possibly can, and just not letting my digestion get impeded too much. Like I think it inevitably will somewhat, but just keep a close eye on that, right?
I think it's keeping it at that cusp. So what my logic is, okay, let's say you're eating like 8,000 calories, right? And you're going really well, and you are about to like,
you say 8,000.
well, whatever, 6,000, whatever.
Listen, I've been at 8,000 before. It's realistic.
Like if you're starting to slow down now, in my opinion, I think what's best is to pull back like go to 7,000. Go for like a week where you're maybe not getting bigger, but you're decreasing the inflammation. You're decreasing the stomach inflammation, which is huge. You're decreasing even the inflammation in your chest and your neck, so then you can sleep a little bit better. And then gradually go back up like 72, 75, 78. These are still surpluses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like we've always had this notion that like you need to push past what you were doing the most of. So if you're at 8,000, well, the only way I can grow is 8,500, right? I don't believe in that anymore. I'm kind of like, and I know I'm not 300 pounds, but I'm kind of like, well, if you pull back slightly, give your body the break that it needs, it'll literally just do whatever you want. If you tell it, hey, I want to start growing, here's a little bit extra food, what is it going to do? Is you're going to start growing, and you're going to start working your metabolism a little bit more, so that it doesn't slow down at the 8,000, 8,500 calories. It'll speed back up at the 7,000 calories, because it's already used to burning that much food all the time. That now you can get leaner and still grow with like 7,200, 7,500, 7,800, and then get back up to 8,000. And you're like 5 pounds or 2 pounds, whatever it is, 5 pounds of muscle heavier, bigger, and you're still only eating 8,000 calories.
Yeah, no, totally. I like definitely had that mindset before too, just about pushing the scale. Like, even when I was working with Dorian, we got to that point where it was like, I remember him saying to me like, well, like that week I hit 332, he was like, we just threw everything at it. They did like 3 cheat meals that week,
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Like just to do that. But
Yeah.
now my mindset is more of like, it's so much more intuitive, you know,
Yeah.
in a sense of like where I've done this a couple times now before, like gotten up to like that 330 range. But it's kind of just like, I know if I'm eating 6 meals a day that are in between like 8 and 1,200 calories each, like taking my gear, training hard, like making sure I'm sleeping, like that's a recipe for growth, right? So, you know, I do still use the scale for sure. Like I want to see that trending upwards, but like I don't need to gain 2 pounds a week, you know. But like, you know, training performance increasing, like visibly seeing changes, and like
you know, like
you didn't know, you know, like once you do this
like,
long enough, like you fucking know when you're growing, right?
Like if you're 300 pounds, let's say you're 300 pounds a year ago and you're 300 pounds today, you know, on paper you're like, I didn't grow at all. But if you compare the two physiques, there's like an 8 to 10 pound of muscle mass difference between those pictures. Like I'm 235 right now, and I've been 235 before, like 5 or 6 years ago. Do you know what I mean? Like
totally different.
Totally different look. Yeah.
So
we're trying to improve the look. We're not going for a specific weight anyways.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
My client, he did this transformation. I thought it was really cool. It's 2 years because his back was really small before.
Yeah, it's thick as fuck.
So yeah, and he had good legs, but we really wanted to improve his back. But he's an endomorph, so you'd put on body fat like pretty quick when we did a bulk. So we did a really slow bulk, and then we still needed to do mini cuts.
Yeah.
Because he would just get fat. Like this guy would never cheat and just eat clean always, and he just accumulates body fat. So we would fight, like we would push as hard as we possibly could, which is not a lot, maybe 4,000 calories. And then we would have to do a mini cut to resensitize him and do it again. And so it was a back and forth, which it felt like we weren't making so much progress because the scale wasn't going up a lot. But then when we look at pictures like that, it's like this guy put on so much fucking muscle, and now he looks like he could step on stage in 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Right. So
because the more muscle you have, the leaner you're going to be.
Yeah.
Right. People don't realize that too. Like they think, oh, I need to get shredded, or they're like 150 pounds. Like I need to get shredded. It's like, you're not going to get shredded until you have muscle. And like the more muscle you put on, the more shredded you're going to get. So a lot of people actually can't, or they shouldn't get super peeled, especially if they're like in amateurs too, like just because they don't have enough muscle yet. So as a coach, that's something I've had to learn as well, is not push the conditioning too much, because then they just start coming in skinny and they lose all their shape. So it's kind of like, it's an ego check to make sure that there's a fine balance between full, round, shredded, you know, everything is balanced and not one of too much, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Even with him, we competed last year and we won the heavyweight class, but we didn't win the overall because the light heavy won because he was more conditioned.
Yeah.
But because he's got certain body parts that aren't quite mature yet, like his arms, they would start to shrink, right? So it's not worth just for one regional show to lose muscle mass. That's so fucking hard to gain for this person.
And lose the look that you're going for, right? Like you're just going to completely lose everything you worked. Like I've done that to so many clients too. I just push conditioning too much, and then I'm trying to fill them back up, and you're never gonna fill them back up once you push too far.
Yeah. Well, the thing about like when you want to go for your pro card is that when you actually go pro, the conditioning doesn't win shows anymore. Like it does in amateur. You need like everything now. So
because everyone's usually everyone is in.
Everybody's pretty close.
Condition,
yeah.
Right. Like
So if you lose some of your fullness and some of your pop to be a little bit more shredded, it doesn't always go in your favor.
You'll see it on stage for sure.
Yeah.
And it depends on who you're competing against that day too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So many things.
Yeah. But for this guy though, honestly, like, man, like, you know, if you're really trying to take you to the next level, I think you got to hire a good coach and just have someone that's just going to be there for you to tell you when to do these things. Because when it was me on my own, I just kept pushing and bulking. I never did mini cuts. Then when I got a coach, my coach would tell me, okay, you're fat now. Like, let's fucking, right? So sometimes you need that.
Mentally, because you're like, man, I don't want to get smaller.
Exactly.
That's what's going through your head. I don't want to get smaller. I don't want to eat less because I'm going to get smaller. I'm going to waste my off season. I'm going to lose muscle. I'm not going to be growing. And it's like, man, like it's a complete opposite. Honestly, if you get a little bit smaller per se, like a little bit lighter, doesn't mean you're not still putting muscle on. It really doesn't, you know?
My client told me that he lost an inch on his arms, or 3/4 of an inch on his arms, but he lost like, 3-4 inches off his waist. So I'm like,
he lost
way better, bro. Like it's gonna look so much better when you lose all this fat off your waist. Who cares if you have an inch smaller arms? They're gonna look way bigger.
That's your true arm.
That's the muscle that's there now. Yeah.
That's one thing a lot of amateur bodybuilders need to, pros too, maybe, I don't know, but amateurs mainly, they got to realize like we're not as big as we look in the off season. I'm sorry to tell you, but like the amount of times I have like shirts have completely gone baggy on me, pants don't fit anymore. Like we're not as big as we think we are in the off season. The off season, we got water, we got inflammation, we got everything in our favor. Fat, we got, you know, all this in our favor. And as soon as you start cutting, it's all just muscle now, and there's not as much muscle as we'd like to think there is.
And when I look back at my prep pictures from like this time last year, I literally look like a kid. Like,
Yeah.
I look like I'm like 21. Like,
I know. Prep makes you younger.
yeah. Especially in a t-shirt and like baggy pants on, like I don't even lift.
Yeah, you don't. That's so funny, man. In prep, we don't. If you wear something baggy, like I remember I walked to my mom's house. I was like 8 weeks out, 10 weeks out, or something. She's like, "You look skinnier." I was like, "Fuck."
Yeah, like, thanks.
Yeah,
not what I'm going for, but I understand.
That sucks.
Is there any creepy weird questions?
Yeah. You want those ones?
I want at least one.
Okay. The only thing about these ones is that you have to like click on each one individually. Okay, a lot of people asking about OnlyFans. Always with the neck, always wanting to know the size of the neck. How about this one? Do people get intimidated by you in public?
I mean, it's hard to tell.
Yeah, because they just.
I think it depends on your vibe too, right? Like they can be, for sure. I used to get told that before when I'd walk around kind of like a dick. Like I'd walk around angry, with an angry face on, but not so much anymore. I feel like if you kind of just have an inviting energy, then people don't really care. I'm sure in the back of their head they're thinking this guy might be a dick, and then it's like within the first second of meeting someone, as long as you kind of give off decent energy, I feel like most people will.
That's literally true for everybody, though.
Exactly.
If you're looking at someone and they're not smiling at you, you're like, this guy's a fucking asshole.
Exactly.
And then if he smiles at you, you're like, oh, he's not an asshole. Like,
yeah.
Mike Van Wick is like the best example of that.
Yeah.
Mike Van Wick is like, you can go talk to him. He's like a really nice dude. But like when he's walking around the gym by himself, you're just like, oh, like, God, so scary.
Yeah. I think someone told him that, and he's like, wouldn't you be more scared if I was just fucking walking around the gym like grinning ear to ear, like fucking serial killer?
Yeah.
Everybody would just leave the gym. All right, this fucking guy says, how often do you guys measure your biceps? Answer honest, please. Winky face, flexing emoji.
I literally never.
Bro, that's a fucking lie, and you know it.
Dude, I swear to God, the last time my biceps were measured was when you and Antoine did it.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't give a shit.
That's not never. Yeah.
Like I don't measure anything, to be honest. I don't really ever measure my body parts. Like I do like once a year or so. Like if like my buddy asks me, what are your calves measuring? Like I may go try and, you know, find some measuring tape, but
calves are acceptable.
Yeah, other than that, like I don't really care.
All I do is I'll just do one of these.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm still good. Still fucking huge.
Yeah.
But then when you go and you measure them, you find out that they're still an inch too small. So
yeah, that's why I don't measure them, dude.
What do you mean an inch too small? Like compared to what? What are you trying to say?
I'm just saying.
I'm gonna say every time I measure, I'm not happy with the measurement because like
that's my point.
It doesn't go up the way I want it to go up. And like, you know, because I know I'm like, oh well, I'm way leaner now than I was a year ago. But I really don't like looking at that number not going up, and especially if it's going down. Really don't like it. So I just try not to measure.
If this was the only thing that Robin could talk about in this podcast, this is what he would want to talk about. Because he knows he has the biggest arms, and this is why he measures his every day to make sure that he still has the biggest arms.
Yeah, mine are like 22 inches. I'll measure them, but like the last time I measured, they were like 19 or something, like 19 and a bit or something, and I was like pretty pissed off. So I don't.
Yeah, if mine weren't I would never even measure mine. If mine weren't in the 20s, I would never measure them.
Yeah,
come on, you got the fucking legs, the back, fucking everything else. I got the arms, and let me have that at least.
Yeah, you can have the arms.
All right, what's your worst first date story?
That's a good question.
I had a stalker follow me home first date. pretty
Come
cool.
on.
Yeah.
Like the girl you went on the date with?
Yeah, she came home, but I didn't know she was coming home. She just followed me. And she
She's like
knocked on my
knocking on the
apartment door and she's like, hey, I was hoping we could like hang out more.
Come on.
Did you
I let her in. I let her in.
What happened after you let her in?
Well, we hooked up and then she left.
There you go. It's good soccer.
Yeah.
She didn't try to kill you after you guys hooked up, so that's a good thing.
No, but she didn't want to leave after that. That's for sure. That was awkward as fuck.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't like it doesn't sound like the worst date. It sounds pretty good, right?
Oh,
But
it does.
it was just think about this. She followed me home.
Yeah. I'm just
So I
thinking.
shouldn't
about,
have let her in, but I was just
Yeah.
obviously I wasn't thinking. But then getting her to leave was really painful.
Yeah.
You
What do
know, like if they start getting fucking comfortable in your house, what do? Just open the door and like start collecting their stuff for them, like you know.
Here's the thing though. For a normal person, it's probably not a big deal because their day doesn't really fucking matter. Like they're not in a routine. Like bodybuilders, we're in a routine, and like I don't want that messed up. You know what I mean? Like if you're staying over, like I have to go for my walk and like I have to get my meal one in. Like I have to get
I wasn't even thinking about that.
Shit.
I was only concerned. I was concerned because she's a stalker. She followed me home. She catfished me too.
Oh shit. That's
Really?
I forgot to tell you guys about that part.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this is way back when I was on Plenty of Fish, by the way. This is like 10 years ago. At least.
Yeah. Sounds like you got what you deserve.
So she was a lot smaller and slimmer than she was when I met her.
Was she like super, like, was it like a big difference?
Pretty big. Like at
that's
least
tough.
50-pound difference. So
ooh, yeah, you got catfish, man. You got catfish by one of those like river monsters, you know?
Okay, wait. Question then. You went out with her like for dinner or what?
we just went for a walk.
Oh fuck. Okay, after the walk, what were you thinking? Like, I'm not ever gonna see this person again.
Well, I was upset because I was like, she doesn't look anything, and she was really into me and I wasn't into her. So I was like, I was just trying to leave.
Right.
So I just drove home and she just drove home behind me.
Wow.
So we went for a walk and I was just like, okay, I'll see you later. Give her a hug. And then she was just like, hey, I was hoping we could hang out more. And I was like, whoa.
When you, never mind. Never
Whoa. Come
Never
in.
Oh shit, man.
Clearly it was the best I could do. It was the best I could do at the time. So, you know,
Sure,
I was on Plenty of Fish, so beggars can't be choosers. I was just like,
Yeah, fact.
it's fucking destiny, baby.
Yeah, there's mountains and valleys in life, you know.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, let's see what else we got here. Do you have one specific person that you really look up to in the sport?
I mean, I look up to my coach quite a bit.
Yeah, he's a good role model.
Yeah.
Who's your coach?
Ron Pretlow.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
He's got a good podcast too. I like the podcast.
Yeah, I've watched it a couple times actually.
Those guys kill it. Actually, they just put out an episode with Mike Van Wyck.
Oh, cool. They're really smart. They're like it's hard for me to watch because I don't understand a lot of what they're saying, to be honest. They're a lot of like very scientific sometimes.
And it's just bodybuilding?
Yeah. Well,
there are other
ones I've watched. Like I've only watched a couple.
because the one that Ron has with Dusty Hanshaw it's not scientific, it's like just like bro chat kind of, but then they have another one which they go into like, you know, chemical shit.
Yeah, maybe that's the one I watched. Then maybe
steroids and stuff. I'm not really so interested in those ones, to be honest. I just like
I don't really watch those ones either.
They talk about fucking just like movies or like whatever. I think that's more entertaining. I don't know. I don't understand the fascination around having like random people in the industry talking about gear. Like, who are these people?
Yeah.
And,
dude,
and
I know.
who said they can talk about this shit? Like, they aren't professional bodybuilders. They don't know anything about chemistry, I bet.
Yeah.
Like, I could read a chemistry fucking, you know, textbook and like pretend to know shit. Like, oh, the steroid molecule has, like, what are you talking about, bro?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
You're
don't
fucking
get it,
small.
dude.
Like, you know.
So true, man. So true.
Like, I don't
Those guys
know.
are the fucking worst, man.
Unless
Everyone-
you fucking like, unless you walk the walk, you just don't talk about it.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, just go do it first, and then people will respect you.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah,
need to
these guys-
convince people you're smart to get respect. I think that's just lame.
Yeah, like these guys
That's
talk
what
about.
it is.
Yeah, these guys talk about steroids like they know everything, but like you can
Yeah.
like they've never been on a diet, they've never done a show, like they've
Who have
never
you helped that was successful because of your advice? First of all,
there's no application to anything that they're saying. They're just like spitting scientific like
Yeah.
like facts, like it sounds
Yeah.
smart. Like what it seems
these
like.
are the pro cycles. Yeah, stupid.
Yeah, pro cycle.
I hate when people say that shit too. That's the worst.
Yeah,
Well, because they'll talk to one pro who takes everything under the sun and be like, this, like I've watched podcasts of, I'm not gonna name names, but I've watched the podcast of a guy, he's relatively like known in the industry for his YouTube page or whatever. And he'd bring on a couple pro bodybuilders, whatever, and they would talk about all these drugs that they would take. And I'm like, I don't even know what half of these are. I've never heard of half of these drugs. And they're just like, yeah, this is what you take to be a pro bodybuilder. The one guy's in classic too. He came down from bodybuilding or 212 or something down to classic. I'm listening to these. I'm like, dude, I don't know what any of these drugs are. And if this is what bodybuilding is, I'm not fucking bodybuilding because like, I'm good. I'm good with what I'm taking.
these are the idiots that are like, bodybuilding is not a sport. It's like you're
Yeah.
you're ruining it because you're just making it into a fucking drug abusing competition. Like,
Well, they're bitter too. This guy in particular, I won't name names, but he's very bitter because he's a pro bodybuilder or became a pro bodybuilder through taking every drug under the, like literally every drug. I'm talking about like Synthol. I'm talking about like everything, like SEOs, everything. And then obviously couldn't sustain it. Right, he turned pro, can't sustain that lifestyle. I think he had health complications or something, and now he's just super bitter about people who can sustain it because they didn't have to do or choose to do even a quarter of what this guy was doing, or what he tells other people to do. Who knows?
Lots of that shit goes on in bodybuilding, man. Like
Yeah.
you see that all the time. Like even for bodybuilders where it just doesn't really work out for them, maybe the way they thought it was going to,
Yeah.
and then all they do when they're done competing is trash talk bodybuilding. Like in
Yeah.
some
politics,
way,
the
shape,
politics,
form, right?
that, like, what are you talking? The politics, like
maybe you had a bad experience, but not everyone does, man. And I don't even know where this politics thing came from. I've never heard like, dude, how many shows have you guys done? I've never known anything. I've never seen any like politics involved in.
it's just the unwritten rule in bodybuilding that if you don't have anything else to blame and you don't want to take the credit for fucking up, you just blame the politics.
Yeah, no accountability, man. It's there's always the finger to be pointed, you know.
Yeah.
I would say though, someone I like have been looking up to as of recently is like honestly Fuad, and the way he's just been able to carry on the sport past his career, right? Like he's not competing anymore. And not only that, but just the way, like what we're doing right now is like he kind of paved the way for that, giving us an opportunity to share our voice, share our personality, not really feel like we're going to be judged. But also just be able to help other people in a more productive way. And I think it's also more interesting when it's like a few people talking, because then you get a few different perspectives and usually different perspectives as well, versus just like one person talking, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, because no one person knows everything, right? It's like we want to have a conversation about things, not just here to claim that we know everything and that's the way it has to be.
No, so we learn too. Like we're learning on this podcast as we talk, because I'm learning from both of you, and versus just me doing my own podcast being like, well, I know everything, here's all my knowledge, and it's like half of it's probably fucking wrong anyway, right?
Yeah, it's good getting ideas from you guys. I mean, we're always going to think like what works for us, but it's only because we haven't tried something that's better.
Exactly. We only have a very limited perspective on everything, and I think that's why it's important for people like us, people like Fuad and his crew, just to share their, because at the end of the day, like, yeah, we can talk science, whatever, but it's really all like based on our unique experience, like based on our perspective. That's really all we know and all we'll ever know. That's why I think it's important to share our different experiences and different perspectives, and just be completely honest about it too, because we get all bullshit and be like, oh, I feel amazing, I take no test or whatever, but it's like, man, at the end of the day, we've all done some dumb shit and we all have different experiences from it too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't know if there's one specific person, but like it would probably be like, Jay Cutler, Dorian Hamilton, Ben Pekulski, like these guys that have done well in bodybuilding, that have made a career or have made a business out of it. Like I think that stuff is like what I'm looking up to at this point in my career, because before it was like just the guys that placed well, but now it's like that's awesome and that's great, but if you can turn it into a business, then that's even better, because that's like your whole life then is set, right?
Yeah, because I mean, how many athletes, just in general, not even just bodybuilders, how many athletes do we see having an amazing career and then nothing after, and
Yeah.
they're trying to pick up scraps after, you know what I mean? It's so sad to see, because they just were like so dialed into being an athlete, and they never really thought past it. They always thought, I'm an athlete, that's all I'll ever be, and I'll be able to ride it forever. And then it's like, you're only as good as much as you're active, right? Like that's all you're ever going to be good for. So that's why I respect
and
guys.
I think you can only be remembered as much as you had like helped people or changed someone's
Impact.
life in some way. Like if you win the Olympia fucking 10 times in a row, but not a single person was given advice by you, or like you never had anything positive to say to anybody, it doesn't like, no one really cares.
No, it's all about impact versus like recognition, in my opinion.
So have you guys ever cheated on your diet during a prep? Like cheated that wasn't on the plan, like you fucked up and just never?
I mean, I'd say the worst thing I've done is probably like take a bite of something, chew it up, and spit it out.
I've done that.
I would say that's probably the worst. But like that's nothing. I'm like, I wasn't doing that like so bad that it was like an eating disorder. It was literally just like, oh, I fucking need to have that chocolate bar in my mouth.
Yeah.
Like chew it up a little bit, and then just like, print my mouth out. Like, yeah,
Dude,
just like
that.
just like ridiculous, being an idiot, basically.
It's so stupid. Yeah, it's such a waste. I've cheated on my diet. I've coached myself and just put random cheat meals in just like I needed it.
Yeah.
I've done that. Made no sense.
As a pro, never, for sure. Maybe like my first couple shows or something when I wasn't even really dieting. I for sure I didn't follow the diet 100% when I was like 19 maybe, doing my first couple shows. But ever since, like, as long as I can remember, no. I'll be honest, like prep is, and I'm not saying that to be hard or anything, like prep is prep though. Like I don't have that, like I don't have, like, in my head I don't have options. You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
what I say too. Yeah.
yeah, this is what I eat. I don't miss training sessions. I've literally never missed a cardio session. And it's just because that's my day. Like, this is my day. This is what I'm supposed to do. And I don't know, man. I don't really have that option of like, well, maybe I'm kind of tired today, I won't go to cardio, or like,
Did you have such a high standard for yourself now? Because like you've won a pro show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you understand like what it takes. Like, and so now for you, like your standard is so high. Like there's just no.
Dude, I think
no
everyone
going
is doing
back.
this though. Like, in my head, everyone is like doing everything to a T, like everything. There's nothing that they're like, that's what goes on in my head. I'm like, if I slip, that person's not going to slip, and like it's going to show on show day. And I don't even, that's like my literal thought process. Like I literally don't have another like, oh, I could take it easy today because I'm tired. Like these other guys, maybe I as far as I'm concerned, it's like CBUM is like 100,000% every single day to the minute. Obviously, I'm being unrealistic, but it's like that's how I'm thinking the whole time. So I'm like, I don't know, man. Dude, I'll be standing on stage thinking of that one time I fucked up.
Yeah.
If I lose that show, it's because of that. Like, as far as I'm concerned, and obviously, like, for being realistic, we could be like, well, it doesn't really matter all that much, but it's like,
Of course
what
it
if I
matters.
didn't do it, though?
Yeah, it definitely matters.
Right?
Because you want to be the best and you're going up against the best of the best.
Yeah.
That's what the Olympia is.
Self-confidence.
Yeah.
Like, something I think about a lot is how we can develop self-confidence, and that's just by making conscious decisions that are right for us. So every time, like, we get our 6 meals in a day, I build more self-confidence. I trust myself to make the decisions that are going to align me on my path. And
Dude, there's no
way.
way that you wouldn't be confident if you did everything that you possibly could have done.
No.
The only reason that you'd lose confidence is if you knew that there were periods of time where you didn't give everything you had, man. Like there's no way around it. Like when you're on stage, that's all there.
Yeah, it's insecurities, and we build insecurities by making wrong decisions. And that's why like bodybuilders especially suffer from that big time insecurities, because we're always making a lot of bad decisions for ego mainly. Like, and I don't mean like that in a negative way, but like we're trying to feed our ego a lot of the time, validation, external, whatever the case may be. So it's just really important, man, in all aspects of life to be making sure as best as you can to make those conscious decisions, like in the back of your head where it's like, no, eat that chicken and rice. But your ego is like, oh man, we're really hungry. We haven't had a cheat meal in 2 weeks. We deserve it. it's a long day, whatever. But it's like, nah, man, the conscious decision is just to stay on track and eat that meal that may not be, as glorifying. It may not be as tasty. It may not be whatever. It may not be what you temporarily want right now. But on stage, dude, as soon as you walk off stage, you're like, fuck, dude, I did everything. I did everything I was supposed to do. Like, that's why when I went into my last show, like, I believed I was winning. Like, I really did. I didn't know who was doing the show. It was just like this belief, like, I really believe this is my show. But going into the show, I'd already accepted the outcome, meaning like, I have no control over the outcome, but I did literally everything I was supposed to do or that I could do, within my scope or whatever. But, that's when you kind of that's why you don't have nerves going on stage. Because you're like, I've done everything I need to do. If the judges don't put me first, then that's the judge's decision. Like, I'll reevaluate after the show what I needed to do better or what could have been better. But I really feel like when people stress going into shows, it's because they know they know deep down that they weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing.
Yeah. You got your girl there or what?
Who? Him?
Yeah. Oh, that's your boy?
Yeah, I got two boys.
Where's his ear?
Oh, that's the other one.
Oh, they're both boys?
They're both boys, yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought one was girl, one's a boy.
Oh, yeah.
What physique are you more attracted to, wellness or bikini?
Easy. Come on.
Bikini.
Wellness.
Really?
Absolutely, bro. Those legs. Come on.
My girlfriend's bikini. I like the way she looks.
Yeah, you got to say bikini.
Yeah, my girlfriend wants to do wellness, so
Does she?
eventually, yeah.
She's got to fucking grow those wheels, man.
Yeah, her quads are pretty good. Like, she definitely has the potential to have those crazy quads. We're just trying to figure out her glutes, but they're coming along too. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Tyler? Wellness or bikini?
I don't know.
He doesn't care.
If I had to choose,
He's single. He'll take whatever he can get.
yeah, I don't really care. No.
If you had to pick.
Yeah, I'd probably go wellness. Honestly, I prefer, like, are we talking about like our personal, like what I'm attracted to?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I would probably go wellness if I had to, like a little bit in between though, because I like the thicker lower half for sure. That's I prefer thicker lower half for sure.
Yeah.
Like, no hate. Like, listen, I find all women have their own way of being attractive, of course, right? But we're just talking like,
if I had to choose.
Yeah, general body type. Like, I like small waist, like, thicker lower body, like
thicker lower body.
Yeah, that's odd. Like, I'm not. I still find bikini girls attractive. It's just
for sure.
Yeah. So I don't want anybody to like get offended.
Just don't.
There's so many different categories for that reason. Everybody has a different preference. So
yeah,
it's all good. Would you ever date someone who's not into bodybuilding?
Yes.
No.
I would. For sure.
I would.
Can you define not into bodybuilding though? Like, do they not like it, or they just aren't a bodybuilder?
They're not into it.
Not into fitness.
They're not into it.
What does that mean though?
It's not their thing.
They don't like it.
Yeah.
Can they learn to like it?
No.
Because like here's the thing, dude. I'll be honest. Like, if you go through my dating history, like, they're all different completely. Like, they are all completely different people.
Do they all go to the gym?
I wouldn't even talk to them if they didn't go to the gym.
My first didn't. When we first started, this is like 10 years ago though. Like, she didn't go to the gym when we first started dating, and I never even cared. I never thought twice about it, but she did. And then she became like really into it. Like, so that's what I'm saying. Like, if they're not into it at first, like, as long as they work out or like they're healthy or they exercise, like, and they're not like, party, like whatever, like, as long as like we can align in some way and they can get into it with me, sure. I don't really care.
That's what you're saying. So you're like, yeah, if they eventually get into it, then yes, we can be together. So
like, they don't have to.
Your answer is they have to be into it.
Yeah. Like what you're saying, they don't have to compete, but they have to be fit.
Fit is subjective.
They have to take care of themselves somehow.
Yeah, that's it. As long as you take care of yourself in a healthy way, which includes exercise, but like, I don't need my girlfriend talking about like her fucking quad routine or like, oh, my glutes are on fire. Like, I need to eat my macros. Like, I don't really give a shit about that. Like,
it's like, dude, like, no matter what, like, if she wants it bad enough, she'll get to the gym and she'll train and she'll look good, like,
she'll just take care of herself. And that's all I care about. As long as you're healthy, taking care of yourself, because like, I mean, things I've learned over the past couple of years is like, the way you take care of yourself literally dictates how you treat yourself and treat people and act and talk and walk and everything. So like, I get super turned off if you're like actively doing toxic shit to yourself. Like
I think we're all like
all the
that.
time, sleeping in, not eating. Like I get really unattracted to that. Like it's just like not attractive.
I think we're all like if we hadn't met you, we would be attracted to you because you probably take care of yourself. Because it would be obvious if you didn't to us.
Yeah, 100%.
So it's not like we would discriminate. Like, oh, like you're not into bodybuilding. Like we wouldn't care about that, but we wouldn't be attracted to that person if they weren't taking care of themselves in some way.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
Who and what inspires you on a daily basis? Why do we get this one so much?
Because people
I think we always just say like we just fucking do it.
Pass.
I don't know. Next one.
That's the real answer. No, that's dude. Every time I think about this question, that's my answer. Is I don't have like a fucking like, oh, I read this book and then I go listen to this guy talk and then I call this person up and they give me all the motivation. Like, dude, I literally just fucking do it, man. Like, I want to be a really good bodybuilder. I want to be on the Olympia stage. I want to win the Olympia at one point. I want to do all this shit. So I have to go do the things that I have to do to make that happen. Like, no, not every day I'm motivated. I'm not motivated fucking 90% of the time, if I'm being honest. A lot of, especially in off season, most of the time you're like, fuck, sometimes I don't even want to go work out. Some days I'm just like, fuck, I don't even want to go train today.
Of course.
But you go to the gym anyways, you get your meals in anyways, and you get your rest in anyways, because that's what a disciplined human being does at the times that they don't want to do shit or the times they're not motivated.
I feel like it gets a little bit harder after you turn pro because it's like it becomes your job. So even when you're like, dude, I never used to think like, more rarely, I used to think like I don't want to go train because it was just like a hobby. It was just fun. Like I would just want, and then you know, you start thinking of it as a job, and a lot of the times you don't want to go train, but you just fucking do it anyways. But also, you know that it feels good to train. You know that you fucking have to do it because if you didn't do it, you wouldn't.
Session.
Yeah, it's more about like if you didn't do something, you'd be upset with yourself more than it is like an inspiration. Like, oh, I'm so inspired today, I'm gonna go train. It's just like it's just fucking time to train, man.
I mean, I do watch Conor McGregor motivational videos sometimes.
Of course, we watch that shit.
That gets me going.
Yeah, dude, I watch all kinds of shit, but like, I don't have to do it every day.
No, I just do it for like fun, pre-workout. Take my pre-workout in. I'm like, I'll throw because I don't watch TV really ever. Honestly, I don't remember the last time I watched TV or movies. I literally only watch like a couple podcasts on YouTube and then those Conor McGregor videos before I train, and that's it. So it's just something while I eat, basically.
You know what like inspires me and motivates me is like doing things. Like when I do like a workout that I don't feel like I wanted to do and it turned out to be a really good workout, I'm like inspired. I'm like more motivated, and like you just keep going on that energy.
Yeah, that was me on what day is it today? That was me on Wednesday. I did legs on Wednesday, and I remember literally walking into the gym like I don't want to train legs today. Like I don't want to have to get headachy on leg days sometimes. And I didn't want to go through that. I'm like, I really don't feel like that today. You know what I mean? But I'm like, well, it's leg day. I'm gonna go do it. I'm gonna go, do whatever I can do, and then like work through the muscles, work through my. Dude, it was like the sickest leg day I've had.
Yeah.
Because I think I was just more focused on like not feeling like shit, maybe. Yeah. Just like focus on the muscle, focus on pushing. But like, dude, that was the sickest leg day I had, and I walked in there not wanting to train. Yeah,
that's why I like using those techniques that Robert talks about, like when we were training with him, because it's like sometimes you just gotta clear your mind.
Yeah.
Doesn't fucking matter what your thoughts are, just clear them out and just keep going.
That helped me a lot, dude, because I have a really bad tendency to think while I train.
Yeah.
Or like look at my phone or whatever. Like even if it's just looking at my phone, like sometimes not on my phone, but I'll look at it.
Yeah.
And working with him, dude, it was just like a new level of focus. And it was that reminder of like, dude, you gotta be fucking way more focused, man. Like especially if I'm going to that next level, I have to be that next level of focus. And I even tell my buddy who I train with all the time, I'm like, if he's like, oh wow, we're gonna go like that heavy, I'm like, man, you gotta like have to do it, dude. You gotta kind of push things to another level, and with the same control, of course, but you got to kind of get out of that comfort zone of like, oh, this is the weight I use. Oh, I only bench 3 plates usually. It's like, fuck, man. Some days you gotta make sure you're pushing past that. You just do it. Like I said, you just do it, man. You don't really
and like remembering that, like lifting the weight, like doing a squat, like doing a bench press, like whatever. Focusing is a skill.
Yeah, it is.
And when we went in there, it's like we have this set. We're training our focus.
That's it. This set only. no exercise selection, no what am I going to do next, no pacing for the next. This is the only rep and set that matter at this point in time. That's literally all that matters, and that really is all you should be focusing on in the moment, in the now, is the rep and set that you're on right now, and the breath, the way you're breathing through that set as well, and connecting the breath with muscle. That's why I always say stretch and do yoga, because that it'll enhance your training and enhance your focus and enhance your breathing.
Yeah. Dude, next time we do another podcast, we got to do another one of these anonymous things. But fucking Mo, go do the anonymous. Drop your anonymous. Let's see what you get. Any weird shit, you let us know
For the next episode.
Yeah. We'll wrap it up there, boys. Always good.
Good one, boys.
Yeah. Guys, if you're listening, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you drop us questions in the comment section. Helps boost the algorithm, gets us out there. Make sure you share this shit with your friends and family and everybody else. We'll see you guys next week.
Okay, thanks for having me.
Guys, see you,
All
Tyler.
right, guys. Yeah, always. All right, man. Peace.